First at noon, we begin with a live look outside at Hilo. It's been a wet and breezy day so far for parts of the state. Now we have a wind advisory in effect for Maui County and Hawaii Island until 6 tonight, with trade wind gusts at up to 55 miles per hour. For the latest first alert forecast, let's send it right over to meteorologist Drew Davis. Drew?
Aloha, Ashley. Let's take a look at the current alerts up across the island chain, because you mentioned we still have that wind advisory. The wind advisory over Oahu and Kauai has been taken down. It's still up for parts of Maui County and Hawaii Island. You'll notice the Kona side of the Big Island and also parts of the eastern side close to Hilo and Puna not included in this wind advisory. This is going to last until 6 p.m. this evening. It's also pretty choppy out there on the waters. You can see a small craft advisory for most coastal waters, a gale warning just to the south of Maui County and south of Hawaii Island until 6 a.m. on Wednesday. Easterlies anywhere between 25 to 35 knots, so still very choppy out there. We also have a high surf advisory up for all east-facing shores until 6 a.m. on Wednesday because of this large wind swell we're seeing out there. And winds are still breezy. Of course, winds in downslope or areas just downslope of the mountains are still very strong. 18 miles per hour in town, 26 in Kahului. And over the last 24 hours, we've seen 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Lihue and 43 in Kahului. I'll give you a full breakdown of the rainfall and how long this weather pattern will stick around coming up.
Thank you, Drew. Hawaiian Electric says it may implement its public safety power shutoff program for parts of Hawaii Island and Maui because of the windy weather. Just before 8 this morning, officials said it could happen within the next 12 to 24 hours to proactively shut off power in communities with high exposure to wildfire risk in the South Kohala area of the Big Island, as well as areas on the Valley Isle, including upcountry Maui. Meanwhile, 4 West Maui schools are closed today because of the weather. King Kamehameha III Elementary, Princess Nahi'enaena Elementary, Lahaina Intermediate, and Lahaina Luna High School were shut down because extended power outages were affecting the water supply at the campuses. And days after strong winds took a toll on their homes, some residents are scrambling to keep a roof over their heads. A'ali'i Duklo spoke to them.
Terrifying moments caught on camera in Salt Lake. A giant gust of wind rips the roof right off the foundation of a home Sunday afternoon on Ala Alawalo Street.
It was unreal, yeah. It was hard to imagine that something like this would happen, really. It really happened fast.
Ricky Almadova lives right next door and says thankfully, because the property is vacant, no one was hurt or left without a home to sleep in. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said in West Oahu.
Yeah.
12 residents in Nanakuli are displaced after gusts blew the roof off an apartment building Sunday afternoon on Helelua Street. A day later, and you can see the sky right through the top of one of the units after the roof was torn off. And then a few doors down, a part of it is still hanging off of the building.
It was scary. It was insane. I didn't think it would fall. My little brothers were upstairs and they saw the whole thing. They ran out here and they almost got hit with this stuff.
The Honolulu Fire Department says since Saturday, they responded to nearly 100 calls. 60 for downed trees, 22 for blown roofs, and 11 for downed power lines.
If there is damage, we want to make sure you as a homeowner are educated and know what to do next.
Sherilyn Tanaka, the executive vice president at Atlas Insurance, says even if you're unsure if you have appropriate coverage, the best thing to do is file a claim.
The more information that you can provide to the claims adjuster as you go through this process, the better.
When documenting the damage, Tanaka says be as specific as possible with details. Take pictures and video and provide any surveillance footage if you have any. Meantime, Hawaiian Electric says customers have 30 days to file claims for losses from power outages. More details on that process are on our website. A'ali'i Duklo, Hawaii News Now.
A possible break in the abduction case of Nancy Guthrie as authorities released previously inaccessible surveillance video and photos showing a masked person outside her Tucson home. Andres Gutierrez has more.
Law enforcement released these surveillance images and video recovered from back-end systems connected to cameras at Nancy Guthrie's home. Authorities say they show an armed individual appearing to tamper with the camera at her front door the morning she disappeared, February 1st.
The fact that he's wearing a mask, covering his hands, so he was ready. He did not want to leave DNA. He did not want his face recognizable.
It's taken the technology company and law enforcement 10 days to extract these images since Guthrie's cameras weren't connected to the cloud and didn't save recorded images. This comes as billboards with Guthrie's picture and information are popping up in Phoenix and even in Houston.
No matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement.
Former FBI hostage negotiator Chip Massey says the latest broad appeal for help from Savannah Guthrie speaks volumes.
Pleading directly to the American people, that is a big indication that they no longer right now have faith in the abductors doing the right thing for them.
The FBI has set up a 24-hour command post here in Tucson and is now trying to identify the person in the surveillance images.
Typically, before they have more information, they're going to call him a subject. They're going to say, we want to talk to him. Then once they talk to him, they get more evidence together. At that point, it turns into person of interest and then suspect. That's the rung above that.
The FBI updated its missing person poster to include these new images, offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to Guthrie's recovery or the arrest and conviction of anyone involved in her disappearance. Andres Gutierrez, CBS News, Tucson.
On Capitol Hill, immigration officials face tough questions about President Trump's national crackdown on undocumented immigrants. Now, this is the first time they're facing lawmakers since 2 U.S. citizens were killed in Minnesota last month. Erica Brown has more.
The leaders of ICE and U.S. Customs and Border Patrol faced questions Tuesday from the House Homeland Security Committee about the Trump administration's immigration crackdown.
From January 20th, 2025 through January 20th, 2026, ICE has conducted nearly 379,000 arrests.
It's their first appearance before lawmakers since federal agents fatally shot Alex Preddy and Renee Good in Minneapolis.
Mr. Lyons, will you apologize to the family of Renee Good for being called a domestic terrorist by the president and his leadership?
No, sir.
Will you apologize to the family of Alex Preddy for also being called a domestic terrorist?
Sir, again, I'm not going to speak to any ongoing investigation.
The immigration officials testified that protesters are obstructing operations and creating a deadly environment.
Why is it that there is so much tension in Minneapolis, St. Paul right now?
Because paid agitators are actively trying to stop law enforcement action.
Democrats on Capitol Hill are demanding significant ICE reforms before they agree to fund the Department of Homeland Security, with funding set to lapse at the end of the week.
How many government agencies, Mr. Lyons, are you aware of that routinely kill American citizens and you still get funding?
Ma'am, I'm not going to entertain that.
Of course you're not. Exactly.
Republicans have warned that a DHS funding lapse will hurt the country.
Shutting down DHS makes America less safe and negatively impacts thousands of federal employees like those at TSA and CISA.
Democrats' proposed ICE changes include restricting immigration agents from wearing masks and requiring them to display ID. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Here at home, we're following news of a bad crash in East Kapolei. It happened at around 6:30 this morning at Farrington Highway and Hikukahi Street. It involved a 19-year-old on an e-bike who was apparently hit by a vehicle. We learned EMS crews needed to administer advanced life support before rushing him to the hospital in critical condition. Now to a major revelation in a mystery that has consumed Hawaii politics. Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke says it's possible she is the elected official suspected of taking $35,000 in an FBI operation. In an interview with Chief Investigative Reporter Lynn Kawano, she explains why.
Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke says it was not a paper bag and it was not $35,000 in cash. That's why she didn't know if she was the lawmaker in question. Are you the influential state legislator we've been talking about for the past couple months?
I did not take, Sylvia Luke did not take $35,000 from any individual. We did have a get-together with Ty Cullen and one of his friends and his daughter. And at that event or that get-together, that individual and his daughter gave me $5,000 each.
So $10,000?
Yes.
Former Representative Ty Cullen was trying to set up others after he was caught in a bribery scandal. Court records show in January 2022, Cullen organized and recorded a meeting between a lobbyist who was the subject of the investigation and an influential state legislator. Luke believes that could be her, even though the records say the lobbyist provided the lawmaker with approximately $35,000 in campaign funds. Luke says they cashed the two $5,000 checks for her lieutenant governor campaign, but 2 months later, when Cullen was charged, Luke says her staff sent 2 checks back to return the money to Cullen's friends. Businessman Milton Choi was also named in connection with the bribery scandal.
At that point in time, I asked my campaign to take a look at any checks that we received from Milton Choi or his family members or his affiliates. And they did a deep dive and then found that we had 16 contributions from different individuals amounting to $25,000 in the period of 2014 to 2019.
Luke says they cut a check to the Campaign Spending Commission rather than returning it all to Choi, who has since died in prison. Since the fall, a petition has been circulating to identify the elected official referred to in the court documents, and multiple representatives and senators have filed resolutions to launch investigations.
Why didn't you come forward sooner?
Well, I think everybody was looking for what happened to this $35,000. I don't know why we would come forward and said, oh, I didn't take $35,000, I took some other amount or other contribution.
Combined, the 3 checks she returned total about $35,000. Luke insists that's a coincidence and misled people into thinking she improperly received the money. I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
Epstein survivors are pushing for new legislation to help victims of sexual abuse. I'm Natalie Burns with what they're calling for, plus what Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick is telling lawmakers about his ties to Epstein.
Aloha. Coming up today at 12:30, it's my show, Kuka Kuka with Naka. We'll be sitting down with Representative Jill Takuda and State Senator Brenton Awa to talk about Hawaii Island issues. Catch Kuka Kuka with Naka on the HNN streaming app, available on Roku, Apple TV, or Amazon Fire.
Welcome back. It's the third week of the strike for Kaiser healthcare workers in Hawaii. Hundreds of hospital staff have been on the picket line since January, demanding better wages, staffing, and benefits. The Hawaii strikers joined more than 30,000 Kaiser workers striking in California. The company says it has offered wage increases of up to 21.5%, which the union says comes at a cost of reduced retirement and paid time off. Well, Senate Democrats are standing with survivors of the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein as they introduce legislation to eliminate the statute of limitations for victims. Natalie Brand explains.
Justice should not expire.
Standing alongside survivors who say they were abused by Jeffrey Epstein and Virginia Giuffre's family, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer introduced a bill called Virginia's Law.
It allows survivors to seek accountability when they're ready, when they're strong enough.
The legislation would eliminate the statute of limitations for civil claims brought by survivors of trafficking and sexual exploitation.
Change must mean justice, not someday, not in speeches.
In a different room on Capitol Hill, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick faced questions from lawmakers amid bipartisan calls to resign over his ties to the disgraced financier.
I did not have any relationship with him. I barely had anything to do with that person.
Lutnick has not been accused of wrongdoing, but acknowledged he visited Epstein's private island with his family.
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation.
Another document in the files released by the Justice Department reveals more about what President Trump may have known in the early stages of the Epstein investigation.
The Miami Herald was the first to report about an FBI interview with a Palm Beach police chief who recalls a phone call from President Trump in 2006 where Trump says everyone knew of Epstein's activities and described Maxwell as Epstein's operative, calling her evil.
What President Trump has always said is that he kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago club because Jeffrey Epstein was a creep, and that remains true. And this call, if it did happen, corroborates exactly what President Trump has said from the beginning.
The DOJ says it's not aware of any corroborating evidence that the president contacted law enforcement 20 years ago. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
And stick around. Coming up after the break, we've got your full first alert weather forecast. Wind advisories remain up for Maui County and Hawaii Island, and some windward showers out there. I'll give you the details coming up.
First Alert Weather with Drew Davis.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Again, it's been a very active last couple of days, but we are starting to see conditions calming down out there. Still breezy over parts of the state. A wind advisory remains up for Maui County and Hawaii Island. Some windward showers are also expected as we're going forward throughout the next couple of days, but less rainfall than we saw over the weekend. Also, a high surf advisory up on east-facing shores. You can take a look out on our first alert radar and satellite. There's a little bit of moisture out there, some sun poking through the clouds. Let's take it island by island to show you what's going on. We're seeing a few showers out over on Hawaii Island, moving in closer to Puna, and then most of the rainfall over on Maui County has been over the windward side of Maui and just north of Molokai out there. Moving down to Oahu, you can see some showers along the Ko'olau mountain range and lighter rainfall moving into the central portions of the island. And then Kauai, relatively dry over the last hour or so. Some rainfall moving in over the southern portions of the island. But a reminder, we can't see what's going on over the northern portions of the island because the Kauai radar only shows to the south. A quick look at the current alerts again. Wind advisory up until 6 p.m. on Tuesday. Easterlies anywhere between 20 to 35 miles per hour, gusting closer to that 55 mile per hour range. Small craft advisories up. Choppy out on the waters, a gale warning up just south of Maui County and south of Hawaii Island. And you can see in our first alert windcast, winds are going to start to weaken going into Wednesday, but still breezy out there, closer to that 10 to 15 to 20 mile per hour range. Not as breezy as what we saw over the weekend. Looks like the worst of it is moving away. Also, windward showers continue. Not a ton of rainfall out there, but it seems like windward areas will remain dry, or will remain wet, over the next couple of days. Leeward areas might see a few showers. It could be wet all the way into this weekend. Our high surf advisory also up for east-facing shores until 6 a.m. on Wednesday. Just giving you a quick look at the numbers. North-facing shores around 5 to 7, west-facing shores around 3 to 5, choppy out on south-facing shores around 2 to 4, and very rough out on east-facing shores with that high surf advisory up. All right, here's our 7-day forecast looking at the EV coast out there. Tuesday highlighted in red today, still seeing some rainfall and some gusty conditions. Wednesday and Thursday more sunshine out there, breezy with some windward and Melka showers. Might see some more rainfall as we're going into this weekend with more cloud cover out there as another disturbance moves closer to the state, but it seems like we're going to be around 80 to 81 degrees. I'll give you another look at our 7-day forecast coming up.
Coming up today at a new time, 12:30, it's Spotlight Now. Catch Spotlight Now on the HNN streaming app, available on Roku, Apple TV, or Amazon Fire.
to Italy, where it's day 5 of the 2026 Winter Games. There's a live look at the Olympic cauldron in Milan. Coming up throughout the day on KHNL, speed skating, downhill skiing, and women's big air. And let's take a look at the latest medal count. Norway leads the pack with 6 gold medals and 12 total medals. Team USA has a pair of golds and 7 total medals.
We gotta pump those numbers up.
Yeah.
We gotta get up there.
Seriously.
Yeah. All right. A manatee is recovering after getting stuck in a storm drain near Orlando.
Christian Benavides has the dramatic rescue that was all caught on camera.
It was all hands on deck in Melbourne Beach, Florida, as crews performed a dramatic rescue. With a happy ending for this 400-pound manatee who somehow found himself stuck in a storm drain. The massive response included utility workers who dug through several layers of concrete to reach the sea mammal.
I didn't know what was happening this evening when I got home from work. I seen the chopper in the sky. I seen the guys going down a manhole cover.
The manatee is recovering at SeaWorld Orlando. Crews responded after someone walking by saw the animal. Mallory McCormick with SeaWorld said the rescue was coordinated with Florida's Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission.
It's an incredible story. That is awesome that he was able to be spotted, that they called the FWC hotline, that FWC was on site to be able to help with the rescue, and that we were on call to be able to have the intake here.
It's likely the animal got stuck after searching for warm water during Florida's recent cold snap. Manatees require temperatures above 68 degrees to survive.
And the thing with manatees, they are not able to really back up. So if he got stuck in there, he can't back out of it. So who knows how long he was trapped. So I'm so happy that he's getting the care here at SeaWorld Rescue.
That treatment involves healing some open wounds near his tail and flippers. Now he's unstuck and on the road to recovery. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
And speaking of rescuing animals, our very own Casey Lund spotted this poor guy wandering alone in the corner at the Chinatown Cultural Plaza during his live shots this morning. He grabbed the lonely bird, placed it safely into his new home, which was an empty box of Tsingtao beer. And that's Chinatown. We're not sure what Casey has planned for the bird, but he did have time to name his new friend. He picked the name Trevor.
And we also have a Trevor producer on Sunrise. So now there's
oh, is that why?
There's 2 Trevors on Sunrise now. That's cool. Good job, Casey.
That's right.
All right, here's one last look at our 7-day forecast, everybody. Tuesday, again, we still have highlighted it in red. It is no longer a first alert weather day, but still wet and windy out there. Conditions slowly improving going into the weekend, seeing more sunshine throughout Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but still seeing windward showers. Easterlies getting slightly weaker, but still breezy each afternoon. The strongest winds, of course, our messaging will be over the leeward areas of each island. Slightly weaker Wednesday and Thursday. More news and another look at the forecast coming up at 4.
Thanks for watching, everybody.